Amigos de la Derecha Diario, estamos acá con nada más y nada menos que Arthur Laffer, un economista súper reconocido, que bueno, todos lo conocemos por la curva de Laffer. Y vamos a hacerle un par de preguntitas en esta entrevista que espero que les guste mucho. Well, Arthur, it's an honor for me, and I would like to start with looking back at your creation of the Laffer curve. You are mostly known for that. Do you think it is still relevant as it was during the Reagan administration?
Let me say, yes, I do. Let me just say, I did not name it the Laffer curve.
Oh, no?
The Laffer curve has been around for thousands of years. I used it, I brought it back into existence, but that was a journalist who named it the Laffer curve. But yeah, it's just a very simple effect, a very simple idea that if you tax something, you're going to have two effects. Number one, you're going to collect more revenue per dollar of tax base. Yeah. But it's also true that if you tax something, you get less of it. So you shrink the tax base. And sometimes when you raise tax rates, you collect more money. And sometimes when you raise tax rates, you collect less money. The arithmetic effect dominates, and some times the economic effect dominates. And that's now, it's been true forever. In fact, I found the first real explicit reference to the Laffer curve in the Muqaddimah by Ibn Khaldun. What was it, 1,000 years ago? So it's not new, and I didn't invent it, but it's really, really relevant and important today, just as important as it was under Reagan.
And what kind of similarities do you see between Javier Milei and Ronald Reagan?
A lot. Policies are very similar. I mean, when I look at the two presidents, Reagan cut taxes, cut government spending except for defense, sound money. That was Paul Volcker. He reduced regulation. If you remember when he dropped the thing, and he was the sponsor of something called NAFTA. Lower tax rates, and majorly lower, spending restraint, sound money, minimal regulations, and freer trade. And that sounds almost exactly like your president, Milei. And I spent some time with him, and he's just amazingly wonderful. I mean, he's very smart, he's very well educated, and he's very focused on what I think are the right policies. And I'm a huge fan of Javier Milei. I really think he's wonderful.
Could you share us some details of your meeting with Milei?
Well, it was a very fun meeting. It was a nice meeting. I met with him alone. We talked about some of the plans, some of the things, and I think with regard to views of the world, I share his views of the world totally. How he does it, I'm not an Argentinian. I'm not. And so I don't understand the politics and the institutions of Argentina. But he was explaining to me how he's doing this, and, it sounded really wonderful. And if you talk with the man, you can tell he's very well educated and very smart, and really is focused on doing the right thing and bringing prosperity back to Argentina. In fact, the joke is, the hat, MAGA,
yes,
it's Make Argentina again, great again. So it's very entertaining, very nice man. I personally liked him very much, as well as respect him immensely. You respect his abilities, and his willingness to expose himself to all of these pressures and burdens. If you can imagine just how difficult it would be to be president of Argentina. I mean, all the weight of all
among all other countries.
Yeah, and it's just an amazing responsibility. I just think it's awesome that he's willing to do what he's doing to make Argentina great. I mean, really is amazing.
I would like to talk about the Federico Sturzenegger work. He's working on some deregulation, agenda. And what is your perspective on that approach from the government?
I spent a good bit of time with Sturzenegger as well.
Okay.
I did, and he's a very technical man, very bump.
Yes.
And that's how you have to deal with regulations. And he seemed to be the perfect man for that job, just a perfect fit. Very focused on the details, getting it done right, deregulation, et cetera. When I went into the meeting, I didn't know who he was. When I left the meeting, I was filled with confidence that he would be able to achieve a lot of the objectives he's really trying to do. And I saw nothing but a very, very competent person. operating on trying to deregulate the Argentinian economy. And goodness knows, Argentina needs deregulation badly.
Yes.
I mean, look what happened when they decontrolled rent controls.
Oh, yes.
I mean, isn't it amazing? Boom, more building. I mean, and the rents go down. That's what you need. And he looks like the perfect person to do that job. I was quite impressed by him.
That's nice. And what is your opinion on the economic plan implemented by Luis Toto Caputo?
Well, I spent probably, I don't know, almost an hour and a half, 2 hours with Caputo. A lot. And we had an open, free conversation. And as far as in economics goes, it was as good a conversation as I've ever had with any government official. He focuses, I focus, we exchanged ideas. He really understands economics. He
admires you a lot.
Well, I admire him a lot. And I mean, all of your government officials, if I compare Argentinian government officials with those, let's say, in America, and I don't mean one for one, yes, but these people are first-class professionals you have here in Argentina. I mean, they're well-educated in economics, and they're first-class professionals. And I know some of the previous government officials who were not first-class. You've got the creme de la creme of professional people in your government. And Caputo was as competent as any man I've ever seen. I mean, we covered a huge range of topics on top of every issue, totally. Good responses, great. I mean, I was equally as impressed. I mean, it may sound like I'm just repeating myself, but when I looked at the whole team, it was a team of high-class professionals. And I'm filled with confidence. I know you can achieve this. Milei's government can achieve the prosperity that Argentina really needs.
It's great to hear that from you. And I would like to talk about the United States.
Sure.
We love Trump here in Argentina, mostly us. And I would like to ask you what do you foresee for the United States economy under this new Trump administration? He's going to apply the motosierra model, or is he?
You're talking about the United States?
Yes.
Yeah, we have had a transformation, 180-degree turn in the elections from the 2000 under Biden. It's going to be. We have a good record of Trump when he was president for the first term. And my professional opinion, as an economist, now remember, I'm only an economist. I don't talk about social issues. I'm not into culture. I should be, but I'm not. I'm not into any of these other issues. I'm just economics. But I believe that Donald Trump's first term, he was the single best president in economics of any president ever in the history of my country.
Better than Reagan?
Better than Reagan in the first term.
Okay.
Now, Reagan's second term, we had the 86 Tax Act. We dropped the highest rate from 50% to 28%. We dropped the corporate rate from 46 to 34%. We got rid of all these omissions, credits, regulations, deductions, loopholes. I mean, it was wonderful. We had the inflation rate come way down and all that. Trump has his second term coming up, and we'll see how he does. But I have nothing but good expectations for Trump. Trump is a great president on economics, and I really want to stress that. He was terrific his first term. If it hadn't been for COVID-19, he would have been elected in a landslide. He handled it. I mean, if you look at what he did with Operation Warp Speed, we developed a vaccine in 9 months. It usually takes people 8-9 years. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was spectacular. Medical transparency. I could go on, and reining in the departments and agencies through the Supreme Court ruling on Chevron. All of these things. It's just decontrol of oil. I mean, we were energy independent under Trump. All of that I see him doing in the second term plus more. So my best guess is you're going to see the most prosperous, greatest growth. And Trump really understands economics in only a way that a businessman can. Now, Reagan was not a businessman, but Reagan did understand economics, but not on the practical level. Reagan made a couple of mistakes that Trump never made. Phasing in a tax cut, you don't do that. And Trump did not phase in a tax cut. And I expect nothing but prosperity. I've never been happier, more I'm happy, more optimistic than I am today about the U.S. economy, and the world economy. I mean, Malay is a perfect example. I mean, of what his changes are. If you look at some of these other leaders in the world, I mean, you look at
he's an inspiration for a lot of he's an inspiration for a lot of leaders of the world.
He is. And Bukele, I mean, look what's happening in El Salvador. Look what's happening in lots of other countries. It's just very exciting. And I just want to live long enough to see it all happen. I'm 84. So now I have to live to be 105 to make sure I can see all the prosperity that we're going to have. But I'm going to live it. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
And what do you think of the relationship between Milei and Donald Trump?
I hear it's very good. I've never been with the two of them together, but I've been with both of them separately, and I can't imagine them not.
They have things in common?
Oh, yeah, they're both very personable people. I know everyone thinks of Donald Trump but Donald Trump is a very nice man. He's funny, he's witty, he's very personable. So is Milei. Milei is very funny. I mean, I can do my imitation, but he's funny. I went out on the podium, out on the balcony there, overlooking the square down below where Eva Perón gave her famous speeches. And he was showing me everything, the paintings and all this stuff. We both have dogs. We both combined, talked about I think the two of them will become very close friends.
That's nice.
Well, it's true. Milei is very good. I mean, he's
as a person, or
as a person and as a government. And it takes both. You've got to relate to people, which he does, and you've got to do the right thing, which he does. And Trump is the same way.
That's amazing. This is the last one, but I don't want to retain you.
That's all right.
More. What are the main global economic challenges that you can anticipate for the coming decade? I mean, China and the trade and the tariff and all that stuff.
The challenge is how to get along well with other countries. And
I'm American or
American. This is not an Argentinian problem for a simple reason: the size of the country. I mean,
yes,
we are a massive military power on the planet, and a different level than Argentina or El Salvador, on the level with Russia, with China, with maybe the European Union. And when you look at the world scene from all of our standpoints, no one wants nuclear war.
No.
Linda Ronstadt said, "Who likes nuclear war?" No one likes nuclear war. How do you prevent nuclear war? And the way to do it is the way Reagan did it, is peace through strength. What the United States has to focus on, my opinion, this is no one else, and I'm not talking for anyone else except me. You need to have a very, very strong military, and you need to have open, free market, pro-growth economics. So you make sure you have a strong enough defense that no one thinks they can push you over. And then the carrot is that you have a free market economy. Come join us. Let's make money together. Let's be prosperous together. Let's eliminate poverty together. Let's clear up sickness. Let's create wealth and happiness and health. And that's the dream. You want to have peace through strength. A carrot, which is the peace and the free markets, and the strength is having a military. John F. Kennedy said it correctly, and you'll be able to translate this, but he said, and it's the most wonderful description of why you have a good military. He said that the best form of defense spending is always wasted. Whenever you find yourself in a situation where you are required to use your military hardware and prowess, that is a clear sign you did not spend enough. The reason you have defense spending is so you don't use it. And I look at Biden, and I feel very sorry for Biden. I feel very sorry for... They had to use the military. They had a Gaza problem. They had an Ukraine problem. They have a Houthi problem. Because we don't have strong defense and because we have a weak economy. Donald Trump will cure both of those problems. Under Donald Trump's 4 years in office, there were no wars. Russia would have never invaded Ukraine had Donald Trump been president. The Gaza problem, my view, never would have happened had Donald Trump been president. My view, there's no Houthi rebels who would have sent missiles at U.S. ships if Donald Trump were president. Under Ronald Reagan, the full 8 years, no wars. Peace through strength. And, you know, a strong Defense Department and free trade, free markets, the NAFTA agreements, that's what you need. And I think we're going to come into a period of great prosperity and wonderful peace. And, you know, as an 84-year-old who was born at the very beginning of World War II, in fact, my birthday, my 5th birthday, was the surrender of Japan.
Do you remember anything from that time?
Of course I do. Yes. Unfortunately, I'm very old. I lived in Arizona with my grandparents. My father was on War Production Board, and that's where all the troops from Europe came in and then went to Asia to do that right through Tucson. And I was 5 or 6 years old at the time. And, you know, it was very exciting. They used to ask me, my name's Arthur. And so they'd say, "Are you King Arthur?" And I said, "No, I'm MacArthur." Our military general,
yes,
MacArthur. Yeah, right. So, you know, I think we're coming into a long era of peace through strength, which means the world is really safe. It's a place you can raise your children. It's a place you can bring people out of poverty. It's a place we can create love and happiness and prosperity and peace. And I'm very excited. And I've gone 180 degrees in the last year. Swung. I was very depressed a year ago. I'm very happy now. And I look at Argentina, and you're doing the same thing we're doing, maybe a little earlier than we did. I mean, it's really exciting. And I look at what's happening with Bukele and the crime. You know, El Salvador is the highest crime rate in the world. Yes. It's now the lowest. He took care of that problem. Boom. And everyone loves him. Yes. Have you seen his popularity?
Over 80%.
Like way over 80%. And that's in Nicaragua. That's in Costa Rica. That's in all of the country, the Guatemala, Honduras, everywhere, even in Colombia. I mean, they all love. And, you know, he's 43 years old or something. He's just amazing. So be very, very glad you're a young man now in this world at this time, because there's nothing but happiness and goodness coming. It's your chance to shine and be prosperous and happy. So I'm very excited for the world, and I've never been more optimistic and ebullient than I am now.
I love your optimistic.
Well, thank
you very much, Arthur.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks.